Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-market stream that we open up to the public every single Wednesday. Thanks for joining us this morning. Can give you guys a little bit of a breakdown on what's going to happen here. This is Spartan speaking, by the way. So once I'm done here, Beth's going to come on, give you a breakdown of the macro environment, and go through any of the bigger picture items that make sense to be looking at today, as well as any news events that happened over the course of this evening or this morning, or that are going to be happening today, FOMC, okay, that makes sense to be paying attention to. Once that's done, I'm going to come on. We're going to be going through the names that are gapping up, gapping down. We'll talk about those names from an individual standpoint. Take a look at them from a technical standpoint as well. Build an action plan for those names as well. And go through the SPY, the FANG, the Qs, the VIX, and the IWM. After that's done, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to South Beach. He's going to come on and go through any of the individual names that he's looking at for the day, as well as analyst calls. Then we'll do a quick little recap of those names that are gapping up, gapping down, and we'll be ready to go. So without further ado, we go ahead and pass over to Beth, and I will talk to you guys shortly. Beth, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Indeed. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome. Pre-market here, Wednesday mornings. SpartanTrading.com. It is FOMC Wednesday. So that is pretty notable as well. Lots to talk about, obviously. Spartan, can I have the screen, please? Thank you. Yeah. So I've been pounding the table on this for like days and days, right? When the Chinese government will get off their high horse and ass and realize what they did was just stupid, not supporting their economy as well as their businesses. And guess what? They saw the light. Housing price overnight, China, 2%. Industrial production was better in Japan. Interesting, right? API crude was a build as opposed to a draw, which is normal. Okay, so we have to talk. We are going to talk about commodities pre-market as well, because FOMC, and especially quarterly FOMCs, and this is such an important one in some ways, are very impactful on the commodity side. Okay, I'm thinking we're going to have a meaningful low. I don't know yet, but I still have hedges on, very, very light, irregardless. Okay. Mortgage back 30-year, guys, anybody who didn't grab or refinance when the 30-year was below 3%, I need to have a chat. I mean, it's like 30 years, 3%, 2.5%. Oh my goodness gracious. Retail sales coming out this morning. Oh, they haven't changed the thing yet. Anyways, import exports, yada, yada, yada. We got the crude, EIA, retail inventories, business inventories, yada, yada, yada. And then we have, okay, so we're going to go over in detail what we have to look for in terms of the verbiage from the FOMC. Powell really did not do well last meeting. I hope he has his A game on, because he really looked like a deer in the headlights. Hopefully he always rebounds after a bad one. So hopefully he'll get his act together. I'm a little bit cautious. I'm going to take a lot of stuff off, like a lot of stuff off. I actually, this is the lowest cash I've had in a while. I did a lot overnight. I know that Spartan did as well. It feels like we're getting to that cycle where the big moves happen overnight again. Irregardless, I'm going to be basically taking a lot off. BRCC, I mean, seriously, I mean, Land's End, okay, whatever. I mean, it's hard to get excited with that list, right? All right, Saudi this is a big deal. And I keep saying this, China wants to use their yuan as a replacement for dollars and commodity as much as possible. This is a big deal, especially if you're looking at the rare earth side and they want to basically keep it. All these things are priced in dollars. If they can persuade countries, whatever, to start accepting it in yuan, it's a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. Just keep saying that. Don't forget, their crude on the future side in China, they basically switched it so you can basically, instead of using US dollars, you can use gold as a payment system. Just saying, this is the present and the future. This is what China wants to do. Look at this. you know, sometimes I get proud. It took them how long? I mean, literally, their companies were down 75% and they just started to realize, well, maybe we overdid it. Whoever's running some of these agencies, even I would, you know, draw and quarter them. They're ridiculous, absurd what they were doing. Let's see if we can build on it. Delisting maybe off the table, right? I don't know. But it's nice headlines. We'll see. We have a short squeeze going on. We'll see what happens, right? I mean, what can I tell you? We have on the daily an island bottom on the FXI. I love that, right? We'll see. All right, what do we got? Traveled Europe for NATO, US prices, we knew that was coming. First time user home buy. Yeah, I get it. Okay, Raskin, it was not a suitable nominee. I'm very actually happy that she withdrew. She just wasn't suitable. Consumers to spend a record $1 trillion online. Hey, I'm up, I raised my hands on that one. Pfizer, SFDA. All right, so this is a big deal for someone like myself. I've already, my brother's already gotten the fourth. And I think, you know, I'll be lining up for this one as well. So we'll see. And this is personal choice, but this is someone like myself. I have to do this sort of stuff. Anyways, don't rag on me. It's my choice. Leave me alone. I get people sending me stuff all the time, telling me why am I doing this to my body? Please, this, you know what? We got to be respectful across the board on all different levels. Mutual respect. Let's bring it back. It's dead right now. Okay, I'm old enough to say this. I can't say this. I gain ahead of it. You know, I'll be honest with you. No, this is more China, but hey, it makes you feel better. Okay. NFTs to play endgame. I don't understand what the hell this is. I don't, I'm clueless. I mean, maybe Robert, some of our NFT peeps can explain this to me, but hey, I know that Robert's really excited about this, and God bless him. And he's got his own little metaverse dog thing going on. So, you know, I just follow him. I have no idea. I just have no idea. Okay. All right, so this is the key, the forward guidance. We'll talk a little bit more about that, right? Language, it's all about the verbiage. By the dip I'm going, could resume soon, Barrett says. A lot of people who are basically trashing so many names are saying, well, maybe they're oversold and they can bounce now. Wow, what a bunch of idiots. Oh, Eunice, our gal, boots on the ground. This is really quite something. He was killed. The dude. Anyways, that's kind of sad. Liz. So, okay, let's talk about commodities 101, right? When prices go up, right, and the physical goes down, right, the price never goes down to the same degree as the physical. And this is how companies, i.e. greedy oil companies, OPEC, OPEC plus, whatever, make their money. Right? Anyways, forward PE ratios for S&P. This is the daily. This is the mid cap. This is really interesting, right? So this is the problem that I have. All right, so the small cap absolutely have the largest pull down, but in the mid cap, but this large cap still, I think we got to see more rotation coming through, guys, gals, right? Let's see. Okay, so let's talk. It's a done deal. It would be actually kind of fun if they did a 50 basis point, and I think that would be, I think it'd be 70% bullish, 30% bearish, but irregardless, I mean, that would really hurt the commodities if they did that. Okay, take note. This is the important point. What their target rates are going out 2023, 2024, and further out. You have to keep an eye on this to see what kind of shift there is on the upside. This is important. It tells you what kind of hikes they're looking for, their expectation. It may not be a quarter point here, maybe a 50 basis point hike. Okay, don't forget, last time we were in this sort of cycle, there were 7, 8, 9 rate hikes, okay? That's what they do as a catch-up type thing. Don't forget, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, when oil doubles and when you have these inflation spikes, 100% of the time, the market goes into a recession. The country goes into a recession. Okay, 100%. Will this be different? I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I think there's a 0% chance of a soft landing. I told this to the twins, 0% chance. It's too complex. There's no way, too many balls in the air. That's my story, sticking to it. Yesterday, everything was up. Isn't that nice? Year to date, not a good look, right? We had 20%, right? And this guy, just saying. The bounce, if we are going to have a bounce, will last weeks and there will be FOMO, but it's still within a bear market, okay? So do we have a meaningful low end? I don't know. We'll just take it one day at a time. We'll follow the tape. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, continue to watch his insider buyings. Okay, when we had a meaningful low, this was in 2018. Okay, this was when everybody, all the analysts, all the companies had lowered their guidance, yada, yada, yada. The sky was falling. We saw insider buying pick up. Okay, that's what we want to watch. And I'll be honest with you, these names, who cares, right? I mean, I'm just saying, it's just, you know, give me millions. Millions and millions, and then we'll look at it from there. Just saying. Okay, so we'll see. All right, tip breaks. The reason why I look at this is it helps me with retail with option flows, right? Micron, the dude's impressive from Bernstein. Locally, you got to be respectful, okay? The dude has a 79% success rate. How do you feel? How would you feel if you had a 79% success rate? Okay, average return 38.8. It was an upgrade. Starbucks, I'm telling you, watch Starbucks. I'm just saying, watch Starbucks. I think it's going to get perky. Katie, if you're in, watch Starbucks. She likes to trade it like I do. All right, so what came in at the end of the day? VTRS, Lam Research, Bobalicious. Just saying. Facebook. We talked about this, right? $1.5 million. Chewy, I followed the Chewy, actually. I won 2.3 million. XOP, I did not follow. KWeb, I have got so much KWeb. I got FXI, I got KWeb. I even got, I went out with Baba. I got all kinds of 2024 spreads on. JD, I lifted off all my rights. Baidu, I lifted off all my rights. I'm aggressively, well, we'll see. CCJ, I love Cameco. This is long-term, I don't care. EFA, I got a ton of this stuff on too. JD was printing June's 47.50. This is what we want to see. That's, you know, this is money. So what do we want to see today? We want to see with the profit taking that things hold up and that we continue to see buying coming in, okay? Institutional size buying, not little retail usies and measies, right? Cameco. You know what really interested me on this was, don't any China names here except CPAIN. And even with CPAIN, look at this. It was a put. So good luck. All right, what do we got? Big lots. This was yesterday, right? GME, Nike. I did actually start, I asked the question yesterday. I did start a 2024 swing position on Nike. It was just too compelling down here. Too many analysts were starting to upgrade at valuation. Look, for me, it's all about valuation. These high PE names, growth, that make money, okay? That's the key, make money, have growth, margins growth. I mean, their peg is good, okay? You know, why not? So I have to say this one. All right, let's do a total commodity hedges position. This is notable and important. All right, so hedges are always flat short, right? Okay. So we'll see how this is the reversion to the mean. You can see what the mid looks like on this thing. It's still below. So this is going to be interesting. Okay. So this was the beginning. Now they're starting to hedge again. That's what it's telling us again. Right. So a typical sentiment cycle. So where are we in this? This is the Justin Mammoth sentiment cycle. We're actually in the panic phase. That doesn't mean we have a low in. It just means that we could have this sort of bounce, which is what I think we're going to get. We can still roll over. That's why we're still in a bear market. We basically take our profits, yada, yada, yada. The probability is going that we're in the panic phase. No, duh. I mean, it's like, hello. But we'll see. So what does this mean? When the sentiment cycle is greater than 75% and with no recession, this goes back to 1934. So this is really no joke. Short-term sloppy choppy. But as you go, I mean, 1 year out, it's bullish. Okay. But that's what I'm saying is 1962, ugly, right? Let's see what the 70s. 70s look really not so good, right? Right. So we'll see how things play out. Right? China fund flows. We got to see if this pops, right? We got to see what happens here. I mean, this is the problem was a lot of people were buying all in here. You got the, you know what, smacked. Right? FXI social bearish sentiment. This is really fascinating as well. Okay, I would have thought it was down here, but it's not. So this is actually a bullish divergence, right? As the FXI sells off, but this holds up, right? That's a bullish divergence. Large trader put buying coming back down, so that's bullish for the market. Small trader put buying still up. Well, we don't care about us, right? Option spec. This is really fascinating, right? Where we are on this. We'll see. But like I say, we'll just take it one day at a time. So the fund flows yesterday, really not a lot. You would have thought there would be more. There wasn't. So that's kind of, this is a FOMO type thing, right? Energy on the downside, healthcare, utilities, industrials, home building. So we'll see tech start to bounce, right? I mean, I'm still in the TQQQs, right? I'm in yen, you know, I'm in yen. And we'll see how it plays out, okay? Tech on the downside, financials on the upside, that will switch. Consumer discretionaries, the techs, I mean, you know the drill, right? Okay, so Hong Kong, China, right? Brazil, all of these should bounce nicely, right? And then on the upside, Poland. I can't make this up. Platinum on the downside, corn on the upside, and then Japanese yen, yada, Phillips, okay. All right, let's go. All right. It's actually a pretty mild, I mean, there's nothing here on the heat map, right? Except on the commodity side. India was really interesting. I missed the trade there. There was a couple tickets I was actually looking at that I didn't get into, but that's okay. I got other stuff on, right? So as you noticed, right? The energy names aren't here anymore. Right? Just saying they're not here anymore. And in fact, USO's 11, AMLP, I was looking at AMLP again. I didn't do anything yet, and that's simply because of FOMC. Right? So the breath, fine. I mean, it's finally, look at how it's clearing out. XLU, it's got room there, okay. Look at this. Hong Kong, Shanghai, oh my goodness gracious. Bounce, right? That'll all reset, right? Okay, XLK breath. You can see that 10-day, right? This is the 50. This is really interesting. So, I mean, we got a long way to go here, right? On this bounce, if we're having a meaningful bounce, right? And here's the 200. Mired and muck. You know, this is pretty interesting, right? Because with the pullback that we're seeing, I could give you an argument on both sides, but for now, I'm going to say this is a bullish divergence for now, okay? XLK funds, nothing going in here, but you can see here, we'll see, right? All right, XLY, as you would expect, the 10-day, right? 50-day starting to bounce. This is obviously bullish, right? And you can see here that the XLY was equal to, so this is a meaningful low. We'll see how it bounces, right? Here's the 200. You can see that as well. Let's take a look at fund flows starting to come in, notable, right? Okay. Here's the diamond, breath, 10-day, the Dow, you know, the Dow, same thing, should bounce, right? 200. Obviously, this should rotate out. If we're going to have a meaningful bounce, it'll rotate out of the Dow. I'm just saying. And there was money coming out of the Dow. You saw that. I mean, it's got to go somewhere. You know the drill. IWM actually has been really holding up well and leading. And you can see, look at the 50, look at this nice divergence there, right? And as well, all that bullish. IWM fund flows, money coming in. That's what we want to see. Small caps, QQQ, you know the drill, bouncing, right? This also is a bullish low. And here you have the 200. So we're still going to say, because it didn't take these out, we're going to say that this is a bullish divergence. And we haven't seen the fund flows that we want to see coming in. But what was notable about this is, anyone noticed that even as we were selling off and selling off, right, you didn't see the fund flows coming out. So that was bullish. Because the SPY, you know, well, SPY's been holding up the best, right? SPY and the Dow. So I want to see money rotate out, to be honest with you. I mean, look at this huge divergence here. I want to see money rotate out, okay? And then you can see here in terms of fund flows. Okay? All right, so let's take a peek here. All right, let's take a look here. Let's do it. Bonds all over the place, FOMC, right? So what we're seeing that the yield curve is steepening, right? 2s and 5s, right? And then you see overseas here, German rates all up. You know, I got out of the financial. I may get back into it. I know it's a little bit. I mean, I'm in a lot of FAS and I'm in a lot of, you know, I'm in a lot of FAS and I'm in a lot of EFA, and those are heavily weighted to Europe. So, well, I mean, we'll see. Okay, so let's take a peek here. All right, so productivity, right, against labor costs. We got to keep an eye on this, and this is so important. This to me is important in the sense that you cannot really have the market go up without productivity as an offset against rising rates, right? Wages, right? Here's GDP, PPI, right? This is another thing. The offset to inflation, right, is productivity. And it's that simple, right? All right, so here's the 3-month against the 10-year. This is the bellwether. It is not coming down. It is actually going up, okay? So the inversion yield curve is not showing itself right now, okay? It's just not there, right? Here's the 5-year. It's interesting. Look at this pivot right here. Let's see what happens with it. It should get up to the 78 points. I mean, rates are going higher. I mean, come on. Here's the 2.5. So we've been watching this. So it is falling back down, which means that instead of flattening, it's steepening, this yield curve. This is a really important one, right? Because that tells us, especially in the shorter time frame, which is where you would see the inversion happen, it's starting to come back, which is bullish for the market. Here's the 510. Got rebuffed at this double, triple, quadruple top, whatever. Here's the 10-year. That double bottom here. Isn't that interesting? Oh, that's the SP. This is the SP. This is the Qs actually. We'll see. Okay. All right, let's get through it. China, right? Interest rates, right? Coming back down a little bit. Got that. Here we got the German, I mean, rates are really high there, right? Forex, dollar coming down, you would expect. Chinese yuan, they cannot, I think the narrative now is they'll probably stabilize it, and this is the new quadrant. Okay, I'm thinking that's the case right now. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about. Is that this is the new range. We'll see. Okay. Cryptos, who cares? Just saying. All right, commodities, let's talk. Because it is important, FOMC. I think we're going to have a low, but we have to be careful. DVC, this is what it looks like, friends, when you have FOMO. We nailed it, shouted it out. We're now holding the support that's key. If we break the support, okay, then we have to look for a more meaningful pullback coming in on this DVC. And it could be really intense, just so you know. And it could be all the way back down to here. Notable, all right? Natural gas. I think it's holding up great. I like natural gas right here. I think it's going to break out on the upside. That's my story, sticking to it. Here's natural gas against CTRA, right? So natural gas is still holding up the physical, which is notable as well. So that's bullish. Here's crude against natural gas. You can see it's still weakening against natural gas, which is notable. And you can see here, this is a monthly pivot point that it's below. So that means that crude probably can flatten but not rise the way it is. Well, here, look at it. Isn't that fantastic? I said it. Hey, hey, hey. Fantastic trade. Gosh, I'm watching this one. It's reclaiming the 38.2%. So I'm watching it. I tried to put something on yesterday, but I hesitated simply because of FOMC. I just don't want to put that kind of risk on. I know I'm going to miss it, but I got a lot of XLE on. So XLE pulled back so that here's the pivot, right? Last month's high. And it is holding last month's high. So that's bullish. So here's XLE USO physical against that XLE. This is a little bit of a conundrum, and this is telling us that the refiners, this is a triple, quadruple top, guys, on the weekly, notable. Have to pop that. I saw yesterday, though, GDX. So we saw that the miners were performing against the physical, right, which is notable. Chevron, rebuffed, still holding the key pivots. You know, literally, this thing can go all the way back down here. It's still bullish, 135, right? Okay. Chevron and ExxonMobil, you still want to be in Chevron. Chevron's still the one. Here's ExxonMobil, weaker as you can see, but it is holding this pivot extension, which is notable. Here's Oxy, extended, pulling back, but holding up really well. I don't think this is done. I think this is still going a lot higher. OIH, XLY, so what is this telling us? That the OIH names basically are starting to weaken against the XLE, right? So that tells you something right there. OIH basically holding the breakout, but the money's in the XLE, not in the OIH right now. I'm not seeing it as a catch-up trade right now. Here's gold crude holding up fine, gold holding that, but it probably, we'll see. All right. Gold held when, I mean, look, it's a huge range. I mean, it basically had all the way down here, 1844, and it's still bullish. Okay, but we do have a double top. So this is going to probably mire and muck for quite some time as well. Here's gold, silver. Gold is holding. I want silver actually to continue to outperform gold, lumber. This is all important going into the FOMC. GLD, GDX. This is notable because GLD is holding. We'll see. Okay. We actually wanted to curl up because the next leg up would come. We want the physical, right? So here's silver, still holding up fine.
All right, Beth, ready to pop on.
All right, guys, have fun.
All right, guys, morning. What's going on? Let me take a little short. Let me open the screen share here. Let's go. There we are. All righty. So let's take a look at what we got going on today, guys. Couple different things. If you guys are new to chat, make sure to click that Discord link that's emailed to you. If you guys are watching the YouTube stream, just sit back and relax. If you guys are new to chat, though, click on the new to chat information section, scroll to the top, read from the top to the bottom. You're going to get an understanding of what's going on in the room, risk reward, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go through that stuff in detail later, but super important to take a look at this morning, as well as click on the disclaimer section, give that a read as well from top to bottom. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? Couple different things. So Tesla, Shop, Baidu, Baba, JD, Neo. Obviously, we have a nice gap up in the SPY and amongst the China names. So Tesla gapping up, continuation and typically with the market. Same with Shop, and then Baidu, Baba, JD, Neo. China clarification on its stance with the Ukraine situation, stating it did not want sanctions to affect China, and getting a big gap up because of that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. The first two we're going to look at today are Tesla and Shop. So let's have a gander at those. Tesla, Shop. All right, let's see what's going on today. So Tesla, nice little gap up. Let's take a look at that daily chart here. So back above EMA support in the short term. Well, actually into it, I should say. It's not back above all of it, but downturn broken in the short term into EMA resistance. Got some room for continuation on the daily. It's a bullish looking chart. Let's take a look at it from an intraday perspective here. All righty. So pivot to the upside today is going to be at 819.09. Levels able to hold. You have room for continuation 832.56 to 849.31 on the upside. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 807. That level breaks, room back into the 826 on the downside, and then 791 below that. Overall on Tesla, going to be leaning on the bullish side today. Looking for a slight pullback this morning on profit taking, and then I want to see a bounce back to the upside. So we'll see if that's able to occur. That is Tesla. Let's take a look at shop here. Okay. That should be good. Let's take a look at this thing intraday. Okay. That level as well. All right, 580.31 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold. You got room towards 595.03. That level breaks 622.99 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 564.41 to that 537.24 level on the downside. And just like Tesla, going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for a slight pullback out the gate, and then a continuation push higher back into the pivot. We'll see if that level can reclaim as well today. So that is shop. Well, give me one sec, guys. I'm just going to adjust one thing on the screen here. There you go. All righty. Let's take a screenshot of this and let's move on to the next. All right, that's SPY. So that's a Tesla and shop. Let's move on to Baba and Baidu. Oh, I got to give a shout out, guys, to South Beach on those FXI calls before the close yesterday. What frigging timing was that? Amazing. All right, let's take a look at Baba and Baidu here. All right, so Baidu, what do we got? Stock a little bit of a gap up on the daily. I have to get back to previous resistance levels here. There we go. It's quite a bit. Let's go take a look intraday here. All right, pivot to the upside today, 123.41. Levels able to hold. You got rid of towards 127.14 to 129.39. Unable to hold, look for pullback towards 120.68 to that 116.72 on the downside. Overall on Baidu, going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point can hold. So we'll see what happens there in that regard. Let's take a look at Baba. I feel like the China names will get back a little bit this morning, but we'll see. All right. All righty, Baba. 95, and then look a little bit higher. Okay. Previous countdown. All right, that should be fine. Let's take a look at this thing intraday here. Pivot to the upside today going to be 92.34. Levels unable to hold. We got room towards 89.21 to 86.44. That level breaks 82.53 will be tested. Able to hold, look for a pushback above 95.11 to 98.50 on the upside. So above a ton of room to the upside to bounce, of course. We'll see how well it can hold up this morning. Going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point can hold. What you may get this morning is a little bit of a dip below it, probably retest the 50 MA and then a push back to the upside. That's what I'm thinking at least. But we'll see what happens. That's BABA. That is Baidu. Let's take a look at the next two, which are going to be JD and NEO. And those NEO calls that we have, guys, are a couple points in the money, almost 3 to be exact, which is awesome. Those should be up really nice. Definitely be looking to sell 1/2 of those out the gate. Okay. All right, that's good. Let's take a look at NEO here. Guess we get the last day's areas as well. Misprint candles everywhere. Okay, above resistance, 1948, just so I know what it is. All right, we're good. So pivot to the upside today. 1702 level holds 1828 to 1948 on the upside. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 1583 to 1428 on the downside. Overall on NEO, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point can hold. Pivot point holds, we got room for continuation. So keep an eye on that. Oops, let's take a look at JD as well here. So short-term EMA support reclaim on JD. Pivots. So resistance 60, 62.50, 663. Should be okay. All right, let's take a look at this thing intraday. Just got to delete one level. So. Pivot on the upside today, 54.71. That level holds. 57.59 to the 60.16 level will be tested. Above that, 62.50. Unable to hold, 51.32 to the 48.29 on the downside will be tested. Overall on JD, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side as well today, as long as that pivot can stay intact. Still, I'm thinking, we get some profit taking on the China names, guys, on the open. So maybe a little bit of a dip into that pivot here. See if that level holds. If it doesn't, of course, you get continuation lower. But I'll be looking for a dip out to get on profit taking. I think we will get that. Or some of that, I should say. So that's JD, that is NEO. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. SPY and the FANG. All right, guys, market. Obviously a nice gap up here. Let's do this where we always pop up the daily on the side. I always like to see this. Heck's going on, you know? All right, so what do we got? We got the SPY pushing to the upside here, reclaiming EMA support in the short term. It certainly will be extended to the upside when they open, that's for sure. And it does have quite a bit of room though, if we can hold above that EMA support, because it is massive technical reversal on the daily chart. And typically when we do break that 13, we do test the 50, but we'll see if we can hold this level. Pivot to the upside today, 431.55 level holds, 434.77 to 437.03 will be tested. Unable to hold. We have room lower into the 428.73 to 426.51. And of course, guys, it is an FOMC day as well. So it's going to be an important day. Keep an eye on what's going on in regards to the SPY. So we'll see what happens in that regard. That's a SPY. Let's take a look at the rest of the FANG here. Let's take a look at Apple. So what do we got on Apple, guys? We have Apple that is gapped up. Oops. Let's do this. Match that to Apple. There you go. So we have Apple that's gapped up off the lows, pushing back into the EMA resistance on the upside, which looks good. Pivot to the upside today, 157.98 levels able to hold. 160.85 to 162.25 will be tested. Unable to hold 155.10 to 153.10 on the downside. Overall on Apple, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for continuation push higher. Let's take a look at Amazon. $29.96 level holds, 30.42 to the 30.93 level will be tested. Unable to hold, look for pullback towards 29.52 to the 29.04 on the downside. Overall on Amazon, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. So that is Amazon. Let's take a screenshot of this. Let's move on to the next. So Netflix coming off the lows, double bottom on the daily to be reclaimed, 350. It's almost there. It's not there yet. Got a little at 350. Let's just do this. It's completely off, but weird. Okay, so pivot to the upside today, 348.92 level holds. Room towards 358, so 353.28 to 358.96. Unable to hold 343.05 to 338.64 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Netflix, I'm actually going to be leaning on the Bearish side today, looking for a little bit of a pullback on the name. Falter hasn't been great on it as of late, so looking for a rejection, the pivot pullback, and then we can see what is what there. So that is Netflix. Let's take a look at Facebook. So Facebook off the lows. Okay. Pivot to the upside today. 195.60 levels able to hold. You got room for continuation towards 197.53 to the 199.31 spot. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 193.59 to the 191.37 on the downside. Overall on sorry. Facebook, guys, you do have a nice curl off the lows. Short-term downtrend break. All about holding that pivot today for continuation higher. So about 195.60 is what needs to hold for that push that we're looking for. We'll see if we're able to get it. So that is Facebook. All right, let's take a screenshot of this guy. Let's move on to the next. Let's take a look at Google here. There's so many support resistance levels here. That's weird. All right, 26.22 pivot to the upside today. Level holds 26.58 to the 26.82. Unable to hold 26.04 to the 25.87 level will be tested on the downside. Overall on Google, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. Looking for a little bit more of a bounce on the name to the upside, just because it's reclaimed EMA support on the daily, and it does a pretty good job of coming off the lows. Google typically it holds up, so we'll see if we get that that reversal we're looking for. That is Google. All right, let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM, guys. And that KC overnight, what a move. Again, props on South Beach, guys. Nailed that China move. All right, so VIX, what do we got? VIX obviously came back in on the daily. A little bit extended to the downside today. That's notable. That fill is 30.33. One thing about extensions on the VIX, though, is they do tend to hold. So you don't tend to need to fill those gaps. So we got to note that. 29.11 pivot to the downside today on the VIX. Unable to hold. We got room towards 27.40. Able to hold. Look for a push back towards 30.80 to the 32 level. 32.03 level on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning on the bearish side. Not leaning any direction on the VIX, but using it for direction when watching the SPY. So we'll keep an eye on it as we usually do throughout the day. That's the VIX and the pivot. Let's take a look at the Qs. That's good for now. No, our 330 calls are going to be nicely in the money. 334.28 pivot to the upside today on the Qs. Level hold 338.10 to the 343.50 level. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 329.25 to the 321.61 on the downside will be tested. Overall on the QQQ, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. That is the QQQ. All right, let's take a look at the IWM here, guys. All righty, IWM. Uh, 197.81 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold. Room for continuation towards 199.51. That level breaks. We got room into the 201.42 level on the upside. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 195.83 to 194.60 on the downside. Overall on IWM, I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. So that is IWM. So guys, that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at for today. Let's quickly take a look at FXI because that's obviously a big move overnight. So you did get that gap fill on the daily back towards that 28.30 level. Back at a 29.84 EMA support. The next major level on the upside is going to be 31.24. And then up after that, we'll look at the weekly here. The one thing is this, FXI did reclaim that monthly. Did reclaim that monthly range support with that, which was at 28 bucks. So at the moment, more room to bounce. But those are the major levels of resistance now to the upside. So 29.84, 31.32, 33.14. Got quite a bit of room to bounce here. Yeah, it looks good. So we'll see what happens in that regard going forward. But yeah, again, big props to Selfish there on those names. Just the timing was unreal. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to him for a little bit and talk to you shortly. Selfish, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Good morning, guys. Hold on a sec. All right, so good morning. What's today? Wednesday, hump day. Let's see what we got going on today. All right, let's look at the bond market, see what that's telling us, if anything. So 10 years at 2.176. I think this is a high. Yep, it is. So 2.176 on the 10 year, 5 years at 2.144. 0.03. That's as flat as you're going to get before an inversion. Okay. The 2 year 187, 217, 13. So that's 0.30. He's not raising 50. Okay. Until this curve steepens, he can't. All right. And quite frankly, you know, everything I'm reading, they say the 7 hikes in the numbers already. Guys are saying, you know, they don't think rates are going a lot higher. I honestly don't know. I really don't have a sense for that at this point. We'll see what happens when, if and when commodity prices moderate. Okay. If that happens, that's a whole, you know, different can of worms that we have to talk about. But for now, we're not getting that. Okay. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's it's unknown. Okay. London, there 10 years at 162. I believe this is a new high also. Right, it is. So That's at a high. So we see bonds moving up pretty smartly across the board. Where's Germany? 38.38. That's, nothing. Look, real rates are negative. Make no mistake. Okay. Inflation's running, what was it running? 9%. The bonds at 2%. So, there's plenty of room to go up, but we'll see what happens. Okay. It's hard to tell. I don't have the knowledge to give it to you. Sorry. Commodities, let's look there. Oil's basically up a little bit, what, 1% maybe? Yeah, a little more. So oil's up $1.60. Natural gas is up 13 cents. Natural gas in the US has really behaved pretty well. A lot different than natural gas in Europe for sure. All right, what else? That's really it there. Metals, we still see gold, further weakness there. Copper's been hanging in a trading range. And the agricultural commodities, we have wheat down 2.5% today, corn's down 1%. Lumber's coming off their highs. It's 1160 down from what, 1460 or so. So a little better. Hopefully it'll continue to come down. So that's that. Let's look at currencies. Dollar's down against North America, up against the yen, and down pretty good against the Chinese currency. Euro's flattish. Crypto, Bitcoin's up almost 2%. Ethereum up 0.5%. Solana's down 1%. Excuse me, 1 second. I want to come back as my wife. Anyway, what else? We got crypto. Well, you have to live with me, so maybe not. Okay, and let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, we got the FTSE up 1%, 97 points. The DAX is up almost 3%. And we have the Nikkei up 1%. China was up 4%. Hong Kong was up 9%. So big moves there. Okay, so let's break down all this nonsense and see if we can come up with something intelligent. Okay, first of all, we have the Fed meeting today. All right, that's important. His verbiage is going to be more important than his 1/4 point hike. I think based upon his personality, he's going to be moderate as he can be. Okay, he won't be out there being hawkish. That's not his style. So I think it's pretty moderate, and we'll see. I think he's going to say, we'll wait and see. We'll be data dependent kind of thing. I think that's an important word that he'll use. Maybe he talks about the dot plot. We'll see in the Q&A, or before that. We'll see how that goes. I think he's going to say a lot of balls are up in the air that we really just don't know at this point. And remember this, guys, whenever they announce it, the first move is usually the wrong move. Do not bite on that first move. Okay, that is a big mistake. And they usually reverse whatever they do based upon the Fed's actions the following day. Okay, those are two kind of rules of the road. All right, do they always work? Nothing always works, but it's worked pretty well. I don't remember the last time it didn't work. Let's put it that way. Okay, so that's the banks and the Fed. All right, let's talk China. Okay, so China came out with a lot of statements last night, basically regarding their financial, these companies listed abroad, that they're going to basically acquiesce to listing requirements. They're constructive on listing overseas, and they're going to play by the rules of the market. Okay, that's a pretty big positive for them. And I think it suggests a lot. I think it suggests a lot more if you read between the lines. Okay. They have been coming out side by side with Russia in this whole Ukraine mess. I think this is a signal that, let me put this way. If you're a leader of a country, the most important thing is to keep people happy, or as happy as you can. If he attacks private sector, it's going to be very difficult for him to keep the number of jobs that he needs to keep for the growing population. So I think he was kind of sort of between a rock and a hard place. His communist blood coupled with his need to stay in power. And I believe that his need to stay in power suggests that he better get on board with the private sector hiring people. And what is this? I'm sorry, I'm reading something. So I think that's the overriding thing for him, and why I think, look, Russia, he wants to stay friends with Russia, mostly because he wants their energy. But the fact of the matter is, if no one else is going to buy their energy, meaning the West, he's going to get it anyway. So he doesn't have to be all chummy with these guys. But what he does need is his people to wake up every day and go to a job. And, you know, in this country, the private sector is the predominance of jobs. Okay, it's different, but if that, with their growing population, he has to support private companies, and he really has no choice. And I think that this is a really big deal. Okay, a really big deal. Me, I think he's flipping the bird to Russia. That's what I think. Okay, and that's that. All right, now let's talk about Russia. I think Putin is a dead man. I think I would buy 6 month puts on his life in size. Okay, he's finished. He took a shot, he blew it. Ukraine's kicking their ass, and he's trying to figure out a way that he's going to live. I think that's what's going on with this guy. Okay, that's how I see it. All right, I think he's completely finished. I think Russia is finished. And if they get the right guy in power, I think this is the beginning of a new era for the Russian people. Okay, they're no different than anybody else. I think the Russians have been hoodwinked by this guy for way too long, and before him it was some other schmo. So, you know, get on board and, you know, jump into the real world and get jobs and have industry and become a real country, because you have a lot of talent there. And that's the way I think it's going to go. Hopefully the right leader comes in and takes the country to the next level, instead of the nonsense that they've been going through, all the wealth in the hands of very few. I mean, look, you have wealthy people in the US, but you have to have the average person being able to do, you know, the things they want to do. And I think this is it for him. And like I said, I would buy puts on him in size. Position limit is my opinion. So that's my sense on that. Okay, let's move forward. Crypto. Okay, whatever. I don't know what to make of crypto. Your guess is as good as mine. So let's move on. All right, oil market up again. Virus, we got that new strain. We'll see how that plays out. The dollar we discussed. Mr. Market, we saw yesterday a couple of things. What did we see? Let's see, Tuesday. We had the market up smartly. We had retail was good, high PE stocks, FANG, EV, solar, Bitcoin, consumer non-durables, hotels, cruise lines, and on the negative side, you had oil and E&P. Everything else was pretty good except for those two. Okay, it's just a degree of good. All right, and you're getting a good bounce today. All right, they were up, what, 50 something handles, now they're up 38. Okay, whatever. Research, let's see what the schmucks are saying today. Let's see, Morgan Stanley downgraded SoFi, target 18 to 10, stocks $8. JP Morgan, not JP Morgan, Bank of America reiterated their sell in big. You know, listen, the best analyst on the street for retail is this guy, Matt Boss at JP Morgan. A few weeks back, he went to a sell on big. Okay, he didn't have really any sells. So big was his sell. And Income watches this guy yesterday, Mill River or whatever they're called, Mill something. And they buy 8% of this company and they put it in play. Okay, so if the best analyst doesn't know shit, no one knows. So what can I say? Okay, trade the tape, trade the technicals, and listen to the technicals, okay? And that's it, okay? I mean, to go through this stuff every morning when these guys really know nothing about nothing is difficult. But, you know, you want to know where the bodies lie. So that's what I do. Micron was upgraded by Bernstein with a 94 target. EW was upgraded by Bernstein with a 135 target. PayPal, MoffettNathanson's reiterates the buy and 190 target. Nike, Citibank has a neutral and a 157 target. If I was guaranteed a 157 target with the stock at 120, I'd be pretty happy. So I don't know why it's a neutral, but their earnings do come out Monday. So that's that. Let's see what else we got here. That's really it. I think that's it. What is this? Downgrade. Janssen. Oh, J&J was downgraded by Bernstein. They said the Janssen, which is their drug division, has headwinds. Okay, so they downgraded. To me, I think it's down today, but it was really strong yesterday, and it's been acting really well. And in this kind of environment, those are the kind of stocks you want to own. Okay, the stock's a monster, breaking out. I think these guys are wrong, so I would ignore that. Starbucks upgrade to outperform at JP Morgan. I think they did this before the news came out that what's his name is coming back, Howard Schultz. Okay, that gave it another spike. The guy's been a fantastic CEO since day one. All right, so maybe he can get things going a little bit there. And if the narrative in China gets a little more pro-US, which it may, we don't know, maybe stocks like Nike and Starbucks can shake off this down channel that they're in. Okay, so that's that. What else do we have here? Okay, Kathy, who cares? But she bought ACHR and ADPT, very small. She's doing nothing. We had insider buying in FRSH and JHG. Okay, JHD is what's his face? JHG, who was buying that? I don't know. The hedge fund guy. Let me see if I can find him. Janice Henderson was being bought by, I don't know, one of the big guys. He owns like a shitload of it, and he bought another $46 million worth. Fresh, $5.3 million was bought in that. You had, what's his name on today? Cooperman. Let's go over him because he's a really smart guy and been. So he's been a fully invested bear. Okay, now less than fully invested. He's only 10% in cash. Okay, so more pessimistic. What else is he saying? Commodity inflation, labor inflation. He thinks labor inflation will not subside. That's not going away. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle. And inflation will moderate from 9 to maybe 5%. But that being said, when you have the bond at 2%, 10-year, and inflation running 5%, you have negative rates. So he thinks that basically he sees rising interest rates, and that's a headwind for stocks. All right, he said the PE should be 18, which is based on $222 in S&P earnings, which is 4,000 fair value on the S&Ps. And we've seen the highs for the year. If we don't see the highs for the year, he said, sell the hell out of the market if we see new highs. Okay. He thinks stocks are the best game in town, which is what I've been saying. And he's concerned about the macro picture. Energy stocks are cheap based on the price of oil. The current administration is awful. They're not capitalist. He believes fixed income is mispriced. And Powell is using his societal preferences rather than looking at economics. And by that, I think he means, remember, he wouldn't he wouldn't end QE until the unemployment rate reached a certain level. I think that's what he's referring to with that. All right. He likes Pfizer and Cigna, conservative view of the world, market fully valued, and he does not like the current situation with the administration being anti-oil and this and that. And, you know, he just doesn't like the way things are going. He doesn't think the administration is capitalistic. Okay, that's fair. All right, so that's that. Let's look at the setup for today. All right, let's see what we got. So I'm long a bunch of Chinese names. I hope some of you guys played them. Hopefully you did. That's looking pretty good at the moment. I think it stays good also. I think the market's going to meander around until, you know, you'll be able to trade for a couple of hours, and then we'll look into Fed Day. I think the setup for the market, look, I think this Ukraine thing looks as though, unless Putin does something that, you know, out of desperation, you know, to take down the world because he knows he's a dead man, things there should improve, hopefully. We'll see. If that happens, you're going to get a reversal from what we've been seeing, right? Oil stocks should come in somewhat. You know, these tech names should do a little better, et cetera, et cetera. I think, you know, the way I see it, the stocks that I'm thinking about doing are the opening names, you know, like the airlines and the cruise lines and hotels and stuff like that. Some of these, this Carrie Firestone, who's on that midday report, I'm really a fan of hers. She's a really smart lady, and she was banging the table on some of these tech names yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. So I like some of those, but I don't know. I gotta figure out a way to play them. But I do like that idea also. What don't I like? Listen, I think if the yield curve stays flat the way it is, I don't think bank stocks are the way to be, guys. I don't know how they're going to make money. So just because rates go up, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good for banks. All right. I think it's challenging. All right. So I think I'd rather be in, if some of the guys are right and they think interest rates are kind of near a top, then these techs are a real buy. You know what I mean? That's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your money. That's what I think, you know, because you can make a shitload in those names, as opposed to, you know, what are you going to make in the banks? 2 points, 3 points? I mean, in PayPal, you can make 30, easy. So I'm thinking, if I get the sense that the bonds are going to, you know, he's going to be very pragmatic about raising rates, I think that's the place to go. And I think that's really what my focus is. Okay, I think that's what makes a lot of sense. I'm not looking to make $2 or $3. I'm looking to make 20 or 30. And I'm not going to make that in these old economy names. Just not, you know, you're just not. It's not there to make, you know. You go there when things are kind of rough. And if you think they're going to be a little better, that's the place to be. And that's it. You know, I want to tip my hat to the president of the Ukraine. Guy's got moxie, and he's done a great job. And we should all pay attention to what he did. It's pretty bold and special. And that's really it. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm going to give it back to Spartan. Let's have a good day. Don't overtrade. Okay, and remember the Fed is coming out. So first move is the wrong move. Keep it, you know, keep it tight. Okay, that's it. All right, show yours, Spartan.
Alrighty, thank you, South Beach guys. Morning, what's going on? So if you guys are new to chat, make sure to click the Discord link. That's emailed to you. Go to the disclaimer section when you come in, and then the new to chat information section as well. We'll go through that stuff once I do close down the pre-market stream to YouTube. So pre-market tickers on watch, everything's posted. You guys can screenshot it or, you know, pause it on YouTube if you want to just read it, guys. That's all that. All the charts are posted. Then on the option side, same thing. Thank you, Beth. And there we go. All right, pre-market tickers on watch, guys. What do we got going on today? Tesla, Shop, Baidu, Baba, JD, Neo. Tesla gapping up continuation simply with the market. Same with Shop, and then Baidu. Basically, China clarifying that they don't want to be involved in the Ukraine situation because they don't want to be they don't want any sanctions affecting them. So we have Baidu, Baba, JD, Neo, basically most of the China market gapping up nicely here. Let's take a look at everything from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two names that we're looking at today, guys, Tesla and Shop. Let's have a look at these. So Tesla gapping up 819.09, pivot to the upside today. Level holds 832.56 to 849.31. Unable to hold 807 to 826 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish. Neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today on Tesla. Shop pivot upside today is going to be the 580.31. Level holds 595.03 to 622.99 will be tested. Unable to hold 562.41 to 537.94 on the downside. Overall on Shop, going to be leaning bullish, neutral as well. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today. All right, let's take a look at Baidu. Let's take a look at Baba here. Baidu 123.41 pivot, level holds, room towards 127.14 to 129.39. Unable to hold 120.68 to 116.72 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Baidu, going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point can hold as well. Baba 92.34 pivot, level holds, room towards 95.11. That level breaks, 98.50 will be tested. Unable to hold 89.21 to 86.44 on the downside. Overall on Baba, going to be leaning bullish, neutral as well. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if we can hold that pivot. Probably going to get pullbacks on these China names out the gate on some profit taking is what I'm thinking. So, and then we can see what happens after that. JD 54.71 pivot, level holds 57.59 to 60.16. Unable to hold 51.32 to 48.29 on the downside. Leaning bullish, neutral on that. Neo pivot 17.02 pivot holds 18.28 to the 19.48 will be tested. Unable to hold 15.83 to 14.28 on the downside. Overall on Neo, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side as well. Looking for some profit taking on the open, then we'll see if that level or that name can hold up. SPY, what do we got going on here? Pivot to the upside today, 431.55. Level holds, room towards 434.77 to that 434.77 to 437.83 on the upside. Unable to hold 428.73 to 426.51 will be tested. Overall on the SPY, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today as well, looking for a continuation push higher. I'm going to have to type this out. I totally forgot to. SPY 431.55. Pivot to the upside today. Holds. Looking for continuation higher into the 434.77 resistance breaks. We see the 437.03 tested. Pivot unable to hold. We're lower into the 428.73. Breaks, we see the 426.51 tested. Any bullish neutral. Looking for pullback, sort of profit taking, and bounce. So what I want to see is some profit taking out the gate this morning, and then a continuation push back into the FOMC. We'll probably grind around, I would think, right before, but that's what I'm thinking. Pull back out the gate, and then we see what's what. Grind higher. All right, that's SPY. Let's take a look at Apple. Pivot to the upside today, 157.98 level holds, 160.85 to 162.25. Unable to hold 155.10 to 153.10 on the downside. Overall on Apple, leaning bullish neutral as well. Amazon pivot upside today, 29.96 level holds. You got room towards the 30.42 to 30.93. Unable to hold 29.52, 29.04. Leaning bullish neutral on that as well. If we can reclaim that pivot. Netflix leaning bearish neutral. Pivot to the upside today is the 348.92 spot level holds, 353.28 to 358.96 will be tested. Unable to hold 343.05 to 338.84 on the downside. Like I said, bullish neutral on that. Or sorry, bearish neutral on that. Facebook. Pivot 195.60 level holds, 197.53 to 199.31. Unable to hold 193.59 to 191.37 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Facebook, bullish neutral leaning on that. We'll see if we can reclaim that pivot point for continuation higher. Didn't really get a big move yesterday at all. You know, it really happened at the end of the day, but stayed almost range bound. 26.22 on Google pivot level holds, 26.58 to that 26.81 will be tested. Unable to hold 26.04 to 25.87 on the downside. Overall on the on Google, going to be leading bullish neutral as well, looking for a continuation push higher. We'll see what happens in that regard. All right, let's take a look at the VIX, the Qs, and the IWM here. All right, VIX guys, pivot to the upside today. 29.11 level holds, 30.08 to 32.03 will be tested. Unable to hold 27.40. Looking for direction or using this for direction on the market as we do. QQQs 334.28 pivot level holds, 338.10 to 343.50 will be tested. Unable to hold 329.25 to 321.61 on the downside. And then last but not least, guys, IWM. Let's take a look at that. 197.81. This is the pivot to the upside today. Level holds 199.51 to 201.42 will be tested. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards 195.83 to 194.60 on the downside. Overall on IWM, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side of that as well today. So guys, what we'll do out the gate, we'll look to take off half of what we held overnight. And you know, if we continue to come back in, we'll just sell everything. But we have a ton of stuff that's gapping up. So fantastic there. Big props to all the mods. Swinging everything. Great job. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's it for the YouTube stream, guys. We're going to wrap that up. And if you do have